Thank you so much for joining us tonight. We are so excited that you're here. We're a few minutes late, so sorry about that tonight, but we are really pleased to be able to chat with you and talk with you. My name's Emily. I work at Adia, and I am really excited to be here with Dr. Darwin. You all are in for a treat tonight. Coaching hour with Dr. Darwin. Dr. Darwin is the newly appointed state dental director for New Jersey. And before his appointment, he served nearly 7 years as the lead co-director of the GPR program at Bronx Healthcare System in Bronx, New York, which is the second largest GPR program in the United States. And his background and bio go on from there. He is certainly a leader in the field, and we are so pleased, Dr. Darwin, to have you here tonight. Thank you so much for joining us.
Well, thank you. Hopefully you guys can hear me all right. It was my fault, I will tell you. The Tooth Fairy was messing with me earlier today with the video simulcast, but we got it up and running. I made a bet with her that I would share all this information for you all that are exploring healthcare careers, but more specifically exploring dentistry. And that's what we're here to do tonight. I'm going to be your coach for the next 55 minutes and answer questions, but also make this interaction, this coaching session for you. It's an interactive session, and it's really time for you to explore and utilize the opportunity to explore questions that you have about the profession, and we'll try to get as many of those questions answered tonight. But if we do not, I know Emily and her team are prepared to be able to funnel some of those questions that are going to be in one of the tabs that you'll get some instructions on. Any questions that we can't get to tonight, we're looking to follow up and have a medium to follow up in the future so that we can get those questions answered for you. All right. So again, it's meant for you to ask questions and be able to interact with myself and also each other. So keep that in mind. Again, this session is for you. It's for you, or maybe friends that you know that maybe are also thinking about it. But it's really for you. So utilize this time that we have. So real quick, again, it's going to be interactive. So what I want you to do is in the chat. And what's that button called, Emily?
All right. So there's 2 places people can go to do the chat. So one is the chat, which should have opened up on the right-hand side of your screen. There is a message from me in there. There's a message from Liz in there. Find that. That's where you all can chat. That's what we're going to be directing you to. There's a second place, though. Underneath the screen, there is a button that says interact. It's green. It has 3 little green people in it. That's where you can send questions to Dr. Darwin. We'll try and capture questions from the chat, but that interact button is where you want to go to put directed questions that we will tackle here tonight.
Sounds good. So again, we're going to kick it off with a little interactive exercise. And again, you know what? I just thought about it. Keep in mind that this session, you'll have access to go back and take some notes tonight, but also you'll be able to go back as a reference to tonight's session because it's going to be recorded. So you guys lucked out on that. So those people that you know that registered but haven't gotten on yet or are not here, they're missing out. And you're going to tell them why they're missing out. So one of the first things we want to do is get started in the chat. I want those that are on right now, I want you to tell us where you're from, where you're participating from, where you're dialing and watching from. So go ahead and put that in the chat where you're watching from. All right. We got a couple of things. I see it on the thing here. We got 1 person responding, 2 people responding.
They're coming in.
They're coming in.
I know it's different time zones everywhere. So it's dinner time some places. It's the middle of the afternoon other places.
Yeah. Yep, that'll throw the timing off a little bit, but put in the chat where you're from. And then also we want you to well let's see what's in there right now. What's in there right now, Emma? What you got?
It looks like we have a couple of people typing messages.
Good. Okay. We want to know where you're from because, that will give me a better idea as to some of the answers to some questions that you may ask, especially as it relates to resources.
So
a lot of resources we're going to share with you too.
Yeah, so Dr. Darwin, we have representation from Washington State. We have representation from Birmingham, Alabama. We have Maryland represented. We are all over the place. Philadelphia is here as well.
Philly.
We have Florida. We have a lot of places all over the country. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for joining. Florida. Oh man, I wish I was there right now. Philly, Washington State, Maryland. Guess what? All the places that you guys are sharing where you're from, they all have dental schools. Some of them have more than one, like in Philly. You guys have two in Philly, Temple and University of Pennsylvania. So that's good to know. Also, so we get a feel as to who's in the room and who's in the session. Also want to know what school you're at right now. I know we've got some people that are in high school. And if you're in high school and you're exploring dentistry for the first, or if this is an additional time that you're exploring it, put in the chat, that you're in high school. Just put HS for high school. If you're in college, please share what college you're currently at. It's good to know that as well. There are some schools that have like predental societies that will help with this exploration and learning more about dentistry as a healthcare career as well. So put those schools in the chat as well, because there are also some undergrad schools that have, just like they have medical schools, they have dental schools as well. So put that in the chat too, so we can again be able to have a better feel as to who's in the room and where you currently are in your pre-dental education journey as well. And that'll be helpful for us to see and to be able to utilize as well. Go ahead, Emma.
I was going to say, everybody's typing. We have, people are doing acronyms. You think really well of me here. University of Alabama, Birmingham, University of Washington, University of Florida,
UF, UAB, Okay. The person in Philly, where are you at school? Because there's like 10,000 schools in Philly. A lot of schools in Philly. Which is good to know, Emily, because the next big event for those individuals considering dentistry as a career is going to be in Philly this year, coming up in March of 2022.
Yeah, we've been doing online for so long. It's going to be the first time we're in person. It's going to be in Philadelphia in March. We hope everybody can join.
Yeah, let's give people those dates too. It's usually the first or second week in March for the annual session, and it's going to be in Philly. So the person who put in Philly, or the people that put in Philly, we're coming to your city. We're coming to eat up those cheesesteaks. We're coming. Any other schools in the chat? Someone just put something in.
It looks like we've got some high school students as well.
Good. Okay.
So we've got a good mix. That is really great. I do see, considering we do have a high school student, I do see a question in the chat about advice for somebody early in the process in high school. What advice would you give a high school student?
Well, advice for a high school student, and I will tell you, this is not necessarily the advice that I utilize, because coming out of high school, my pathway to dentistry was totally different. But coming out of high school, you're at an advantage in the sense that you still have a lot of time to explore this career, and you can do it like some of the other pre-dental students will do in preparation for their application, which is shadow. You need to start shadowing dental offices. If you have a family dentist or friends of the family that have a family dentist, this is an opportunity for you to network and connect with that dentist or a series of dentists in your area, primarily so that you can see what some of the aspects about the actual profession, right? And that's key. Seeing is believing. And once you see it, you can believe and understand more about the profession, but also it'll help you believe that you can become a dentist too, or you could become an oral health professional as well. So I think that's the first thing that I would do. I would actually do some shadowing. Also keep in mind that there are several schools throughout the country that actually have a dental school as part of their graduate program. And those undergrad schools like UAB, like University of Florida, like UPenn, like Temple, and I'm just mentioning those schools because we have some other participants from those areas. Those schools have a dental school, and as you're exploring, as you're exploring the profession, it would also be helpful to explore the profession as it relates to the next step after high school. So the next step after high school would be going into undergrad as a pre-dental or pre-health. Some people even do a pre-med as a track to make sure that you get the actual science requirements for school. But if you have a school that you're interested in, or you're looking at dentistry and you're looking at dental schools, it may be helpful to look at dental schools that are on campuses that have undergraduate students as well. So I think those two things will get you started. Last thing that I would want you to consider as well is I would consider finding networking, right? Finding others that you may know are looking for organizations either at your high school. There may be a pre-health professions like club or group, but there also may be those types of clubs and groups, again, at some of the undergraduate institutions that you may be looking at for colleges. Those pre-dental students were high school students not too long ago, 3-4 years ago. So they also will be a great source of information for you because they are now doing, as a pre-dental student, what you are possibly looking to do as well as a high school student that's going to be matriculating into college and getting on the pre-dental pathway. So those are 3 quick tips and pieces of advice that I would utilize for you as a high school student. So hopefully that helps and that's valuable. If you find some value in that, just put a thank you or put a thumbs up in the chat as well.
Yeah, I want to remind everybody, send us your questions. So we're getting a couple of questions, but for those of you joining us, what questions do you have? There is no question too basic, no question too complex. Although I say that, I'm not the one answering the questions here, but I will say that for Dr. Darwin. We did get a question about it being torn between dentistry and medicine, or potentially another health profession, and potentially figuring out how to decide about dentistry, if dentistry is right for me. What would you say for that?
Well, first, thanks for that question. first realize that dentistry is medicine, and within medicine, dentistry is a specialty as well, right? You see this right here, this DDS, DMD, Doctor of Dental Surgery. Oh, where am I at? Doctor of Dental Surgery and Doctor of Medical Dentistry. So keep in mind, dentistry and oral health is part of overall health, right? If you're looking at me, my head is where? It's on my body via my shoulders. And part of my head is my mouth, right? So my mouth is connected to my head, which is connected to the rest of my body. So what we do as dentists in the area that we're responsible for, in this head and neck area, but more specifically intraorally, is all part of medical as far as anatomy and physiology. So think of dentistry as a subspecialty within medicine that focuses and has several different subspecialties within the profession, within the discipline in this area here, right? Also keep in mind that as a dentist, not only are you doing this, you're helping people with their smile, but you're also being referred to as an oral physician as well, right? I mean, again, if you take where am I at? If you take the oral out, you're a physician, you're a doctor, right? And then you just add the subspecialty or the specialty there is oral physician. So keep that in mind, because one of the things that is a pet peeve of mine, and even as dental students, we do it, and then even as dentists, we do it, and even as people that are in the profession, we do it. We say, yeah, I got to go to the doctor tomorrow. And then they say at the same time, oh, yeah, and I also need to make a dentist appointment as well. Well, a dentist is a doctor. And just like a physician is a doctor, a dentist is a doctor as well. So if you can kind of think with that initially, and keeping in mind that it's all interrelated and integrated, I think whatever you choose is going to be on the path of healthcare and wanting to help someone with a particular ailment, whether it's oral related, ear, nose, and throat, dermatology, internal medicine, right? So that's the first thing. The second thing is keep in mind that, again, seeing is believing. Seeing is believing. You really are going to have to do your homework and your own due diligence to explore the profession, but also both professions, dentistry and medicine, right? I know one of the things early on when I was, I think maybe 6th or 7th grade, there was a health professions exploration day in New Jersey up at Rutgers. And that was my first exposure to medicine. And I think one of the presenters was a neurosurgeon. And I was like, wow, I'm going to be a neurosurgeon. Just from that exposure, just from that interaction, just from learning something totally new. And I would say as a 7th grader that transitioned later to a 12th grader that ended up going to college as an architect major before becoming a dentist, things can change, right? So you really want to do that exploration and find out more about medicine and also dentistry to really make a determination as to what you like best about those things. And only you will know. I mean, there's people and students that I've met over the years that were on a medicine path and had some experiences or met some people that and they ended up changing because they didn't want to be a surgeon throughout the body. Maybe they saw some surgeries or had some exposure where they saw something that they were like, no, that's not really what I want to do. And then saw something in dentistry where it was like, yep, I can do that. So that's going to be different for everybody, right? And it's going to be different for you. So I think you being torn means that you need to come up with some lists to determine what you like about being a physician and explore, because in medicine, there are a lot of specialties as well. Medicine is more specialty driven than dentistry is. There's a lot more general dentists than there are specialists, but on the medicine side, there are a lot more specialists than there are primary care practitioners. So you're going to have to do a deeper dive to find out those two sides, medicine and dentistry, and what you like about each, and also things that you don't like. And I think that'll help you as well.
That's great. All right. This next question is coming from Lucas.
Lucas.
How can I go about finding research opportunities in dentistry as an undergraduate?
Well, Lucas, where are you at school right now?
Lucas is at University of Alabama, Birmingham.
So research opportunities where? As
an undergraduate.
So Lucas, guess what? You're at a school that has a dental school, UAB. So have you been to the dental school? Have you connected with any of the dental students there? Are you part of is there a pre-dental club or society or organization at UAB for the undergrads? I mean, all those questions you will have to explore to get answers, because that's where you're able to do your due diligence and get connected to research opportunities. I know as an institution, somebody's doing research, right? Especially health related research. And because there is a dental school at UAB, guess what? They're doing research. So the question is, how do you get in front of those opportunities? Well, you've got to go to the dental school. You've got to, and I would tell you that dental students, several of those organizations, the student-run organizations, have outreach where they are lend themselves to help students like yourself, potential pre-dental students that are, of course, applying to dental school or interested in becoming a dentist and interested in being a research-based dentist as well. So you've got to go right over to UAB. Go on the website for the dental school and look at the student organizations. And I would start connecting with those different organizations that are at the dental school that are doing research or asking if they're on research. Another resource with regards to that is your phone. Go on Instagram right now, tonight. Put in UAB Dental School. And I'm sure there's probably going to be at least 4 or 5 different organizations that'll pop up that you can follow and then ask questions about how to become involved as a pre-dental student to find out more information. There you go. Just now it's on you. The ball's in your court.
That's awesome. Good luck, Lucas. We look forward to hearing more soon from you. All right. I've got another question for you. It comes from Grace. How do I decide whether a post-bac program or a master's program is better in terms of getting into dental school if I'm looking to work on increasing GPA for my dental school acceptance?
Great question, Grace, about post-bac or a master's program, GPA, et cetera. And, this is not a tough question, but it's a question that comes up a lot, both from people who have applied and are having to apply again, maybe for a second cycle, and they get some recommendations to do a post-bac program or a master's program, or they are just, as part of their candidacy, are deciding or making the decision, or maybe have gotten some advice to do a post-bac or a master's program. I will tell you this: grades are not everything with regards to wanting to increase your GPA. A lot of schools are not only using GPA as a determining factor regarding who you are as a complete applicant. There's GPA, there's letters of recommendation. There are also the DAT scores as well. And then there's also your interview as well too, and your personal statement. Everything is all part of the overall puzzle. It's like a puzzle. There's many different pieces that make up the complete picture in the puzzle. It's the same thing for you as an applicant as well. So yes, you may have a low GPA, but it doesn't mean that applying the first time that you're not a good candidate for dental school, because it's more than just GPA. It's also your extracurricular activities as well. All of that goes into your candidacy as a pre-dental student. Now, I will say this: post-bac versus master's programs. There are some schools, depending on ones that you apply to, there are some schools that have certain criteria for the GPA, the DAT, and based on that, they will interview you, but also based on that, they may recommend that you do a master's program in biological sciences. Some schools, some dental schools will even have their own program that's associated with the universities for that master program, right? And I will tell you, there's a lot of upside in doing something similar to that. Many students that I've coached and talked to and mentored have said that they were so thankful for doing, after graduating and then matriculating into a master's program before getting into dental school. Not only did it help them with their application and getting accepted, but it also helped them study. It helped them be prepared to maybe take the DAT the first or the second time. And it also gave them reality as to what to expect as a dental student, especially a first-year dental student, when you have close to 30 hours, credit hours of curriculum that you're taking, mostly in science. How that master's 1 year or 18-month program really prepared them and gave them the grit and the foundational knowledge and mindset that when they got into dental school, it was a much easier transition, right? So that could be another reason to making the decision to actually consider a post-bac or a master's program. And, you know, there were a couple of recent grads, Dr. Tyler and Dr. Terrell, who were on, I think, a couple of weeks ago as part of the program. And if I recall correctly, they both did master's programs at a university, Barry University down in Florida. So whoever's from Florida, listen up. Down at Barry University. And I will tell you, that's one program that's pretty much a direct ascension into medical school and dental school, meaning students that are doing that program and getting their master's and applying to dental school, I think more than 9 times out of 10 are getting into dental school immediately after that year. So that also will help with your chances and also just overall with your candidacy as well. So I hope that's helpful.
Yeah, and shout out to Drs. Brown and Friday for their presentation a couple of weeks ago. Check them out on Future DDS. They have some really great advice. All right, we've got some more questions here. This one is from Jessica. To find a shadow opportunity, is it best to just email a dentist? How do I go about getting, shadowing someone?
So shadowing, the very elusive shadowing requirement, right? Jessica, how many emails do you get a day? Did she respond yet? How many emails do you get a day, Jessica? Is Jessica a student?
I think there's a little bit of a delay.
Okay.
But we do have some thanks from Lucas and Grace. for answering their questions.
You're welcome. Well, Jessica, my question about emails is the reason why I asked that question is because guess what? We all get probably 100 emails in a period of 2 or 3 days. And I will tell you, as some dentists are not checking their emails every day, right? So that's one line of communication, or one avenue for communication. Another avenue is, some offices are on Instagram, and they are, producing content on Instagram. If it's not necessarily the dentist, it's the dental staff, the office staff. Someone may be running the Instagram page. You can reach out to them as well there, right? Send a direct message. Hey, my name is Jessica. I'm a pre-dental student looking to explore dentistry some more. And I want to know if there's any opportunities to come to the office to learn more about dentistry. So that's the second way. Email way is you can write a letter, because I can tell you right now, with everything being digital and everything also being digital as it relates to emails, a lot of us are very excited and not used to getting mail. So when it does come, it's like, oh, wow, what is this? Is this a lottery check or something? What is this? Let me open this up. It's a package. It's like getting a gift. It's like what happens when you order something on Amazon and they ring the door and you're like, my package. You get excited. It's the same thing sometimes with thank you notes and letters. The third thing is you can write a letter, right? But I think when you do that, the best thing is the fourth thing, which is scheduling a time to actually go and visit, right? Even if it means going to the office and introducing yourself, stating that you sent an email, you sent a letter, and you just wanted to connect with the dental staff and the dentists that are there to do some shadowing. So that's the fourth thing that you can do as well. So it's not just one, or it's not just the second thing. It's everything, right? Because you're trying to get their attention, and then and it's for a good cause, which is I want to shadow. I want to get some exposure and see face to face, one on one. Real quick, in addition to that, there are a lot of opportunities online now, especially due to the pandemic, right? There are a lot of organizations and agencies, actually even schools. I'm thinking of one right now, UNC, where they have virtual shadowing opportunities where you can sign up and register, and you'll get a tour of that presenting doctor's office at that particular time. And some schools are actually allowing that to count towards some of your shadowing requirements for that for school. So I would also explore on YouTube. I think there's one. Just do a YouTube search: dental shadowing, virtual dental shadowing, and I know there's going to be at least 2 of them. I can see the names of the groups right now. I just can't recall their name, but utilize YouTube as your research, right? That's for you, Lucas, since you're the research person. Utilize YouTube as a research opportunity for you to learn and get the virtual shadowing, to learn more about virtual shadowing that's out there as well. So hopefully that helps, Jessica.
All right, we're going to change tack a little bit here. We have a question from Luz about getting into dental school if I am a foreigner. It looks like Luz just currently finished high school in her country and is asking about the path to dental school in the U.S. as an international student.
Thanks, Luz. So international student, or actually a student. Well, I know I can't recall, and schools have changed since I was at school. We didn't have a lot of maybe international students. Most were citizens, and I'm not sure if your international student status also means not currently a citizen. But you will have to look at and search the resource for dental schools. Right now, I know Adia has a guide to dental school, and it has most, if not all the 65, 66, 67, all these new dental schools come along. They have a guide that has all the dental schools and some of the requirements. And you're going to have to look and see which schools require you either to be a citizen as part of your application to gain admission, or what the rules and regulations are. Now, that's different than if you were, say, from India or from Brazil or from Africa or from Japan, and you were trained overseas, and you're looking to come to the U.S. to either practice or to do specialty training or what have you. Usually in that case, there's a pathway specifically for foreign trained or internationally trained dentists. And all schools do not have that pathway, but there are many schools that do. One of which is on the list here of where someone is right now. University of Pennsylvania is one, NYU, Rutgers in New Jersey, Howard University, Meharry, and there's a whole list of all the other schools. But utilizing that guide that Adia has would be helpful. Also, another organization has a similar guide, that's ASDA, American Student Dental Association. Again, YouTube/Google, and go on that website and utilize that resource so that you can find out some more information. Again, every school is different. If you see 65 schools, guess what? You've seen 65 schools. There's some things that are similar, and there's a lot of other things that are not similar. So that's going to be the best way to really navigate whether or not a school will consider your candidacy as a foreign or international student, as an undergrad and also as a dental student as well. So I hope that helps.
I'd love to give a plug. So Adia has the official guide to dental schools, which is a physical book someone can purchase, but there is also the electronic version, yes. The Dental School Explorer. And so anybody who's exploring the Dental School Explorer or the official guide, it's just a physical versus online publication, is a really great one. All right. We have a question from Isabel. What is the starting salary of a dentist?
Isabel trying to get paid.
Mm-hmm.
Isabel, that's a good question. Have you seen the movie Jerry Maguire, Show Me the Money? You probably haven't seen it, but you should see it. But good question. Average salary dentist, again, depending on where you live, because the cost of living is different in Washington State than it is in Maryland, than it is in Florida, than it is in California, and than it is in Texas. But I think on average, for a general dentist, it's anywhere from, I think, maybe $125 to $150, $160. Again, depending regionally where you are in the U.S. And if you do a quick search, you'll be able to find out what the median average salary is for a dentist. Now, that's a general dentist. Keep in mind that those averages are significantly higher if you are a specialist. If you are specializing in a specific discipline within dentistry, as in orthodontics, endodontics, oral maxillofacial surgery, pediatric dentistry, and also periodontics. So depending on the discipline or specialty within the practice or within the profession, your salary has a higher bump up or has a higher amount as well. So does that help, Isabel?
She has seen Jerry Maguire.
See, my girl. There you go. There you go. So there you go.
All right, we've got some more people joining us. Thank you all for joining us. I want to reiterate, there are 2 places where you can chat tonight. One is in the chat room. Looks like a lot of you have found that. Thank you for putting in the information there. We also have the interact button right below Dr. Darwin. And so if you have some questions, send it. Yeah, closer. Yeah, there you go. Send them in that way. We want to be able to answer your questions today. Let's see. We did have another question a little bit earlier on, and it might be related to your wonderful sweatshirt, which is DDS DMD. And there was a question that came in. What is the difference between the two?
So historically, most of the schools that have dental programs, and I can't think of the actual percentage, it may be 70%, 75, 80%, or typically you get a dental degree, you get this, you get a DDS, right? And again, I can't remember the year when the other distinction came on board, which is DMD. Again, it depends on the school, and there's some history behind it. I will tell you, I will admit, I cannot recall, but I do know of the schools that, some of the schools that have the DMD. You have a Harvard, you have a UConn, I think it's UConn has a DMD. Tufts has a DMD. University of Florida has a DMD. UPenn, DMD. What is UAB? I think somebody was on the call from UAB. I think that's DDS. Again, great question. But in order for me to give you the best answer, a more complete answer, I will tell you, go to Google right now. What is the difference between DDS and DMD? And it'll give you a much more detailed explanation between the two. It's very similar to how in medicine there's medical doctor, and then there's the OD, or the osteopathic doctor, right? And there's a little bit of some differences in teaching modalities and curriculums on the medical side, but on the DDS DMD side, it's really not that much of a big difference, like there is, or in comparison to the different degrees in medicine as well. At the end of the day, and who was that? Who asked that question?
That was from Elizabeth.
Elizabeth, at the end of the day, whether you're DDS or you're DMD, DMD or DDS, guess what they're going to call you? They're going to call you Dr. Elizabeth. And that's what you want. You want to be called Dr. Elizabeth. And patients are not going to know the difference, nor care about which of these two that you've got. The thing that they're going to care about the most, Elizabeth, is how you treat them, right? How you talk to them. Did you hurt them? And most importantly, if you help them solve their problem. And both of these do that. So there you go.
All right. But we have had Deborah join us. And she asked a great question. What aspect of the dental application matters the most? I know you've touched a little bit on this, but is that a question we can answer? Which one matters the most?
So, Deborah, what part of the application matters the most? Okay, Deborah, I'm going to flip it on you real quick. What do you think is the most part, the part that matters the most? What do you think? And again, this is interactive, guys, right? There's no wrong or right answer. No one's going to tell the admissions counselor you answered the question wrong on the coaching hour. So what do you think? What do you think?
Got a couple of people typing in.
See, I love it. I love it. I know that's probably it's probably Lucas. I know Lucas done his research. I know Lucas already know. Is that you, Lucas? Or is that Jessica? Because Jessica trying to do her shadowing. So she that means she already knows that there's a requirement, and she's probably trying to get her extra requirements in. So that means she's paying attention here.
Deborah says the DAT.
The DAT. That's a good answer. That's a good answer. I will tell you this. There are people that get into dental school with an academic average of 18, and there are people that get into dental school with an academic average of 26 and 27. So in that particular case, what is the difference? They got in. There really is no difference in, because the DAT is just one aspect of the application. Many schools will consider you as an applicant from a holistic perspective, meaning everything counts, right? When you wave at somebody, you don't wave with just one finger, do you? You wave with all these, and it makes, we understand what this means. But if you're going like this, that means, okay, thumbs up. But if you go like this, or some of the other fingers, you also communicates. But when you go like this, all of these together, we know that you're saying something. It's the same thing with your application, and we did touch on it a little bit earlier. Now, what you can find out as part of your process to looking into dental schools is, again, through the guide that Adia has, but also each of the schools, when you go on their website, they'll have a dashboard. And that dashboard is set up for you to communicate information to you. And on that dashboard, they will share with you specific data about those dental students that have either applied and or matriculated into their class, and what the average DAT score was. And that'll tell you as an average, right? That means there's probably some that were lower and some that were higher than that number. And that'll give you an idea for a range. So again, every school is going to be different. Some schools may not even want to have candidates or invite candidates for interviews if they have less than a 17. Again, schools may not necessarily tell you that, but one of the ways that you can infer and kind of explore that specific topic about your candidacy, the DAT, is looking at that dashboard or utilizing a resource that has already been developed so that you can see a snapshot of the several schools that you're applying to, so that you get an idea. All right, I'm applying to 10 schools and the range is 18 to 22. So if I want to be, considered as a candidate for this part of my candidacy, the DAT, I know I got to get somewhere around an 18 or to 22, if not better. I would shoot for a 25. So if you fall short getting a 25, you might get a 22, right? So at least that way you'll have a better idea to kind of look at those different scores. But again, it's holistic. It's everything. It's everything, Deborah. It's everything.
Yeah, and Dr. Darwin, I wish you could see the chat here, because everybody has said something different in terms of what is the most important point.
And that is very exemplary of the fact that every school will have a different emphasis on the things that you all just said. DAT, GPA, letters of recommendation, right? What about the interview? You could have a 3.3 or a 4.0 GPA, have a high DAT score, but you get to the interview and you like this. Or you don't talk, or you're talking to the person, but you're looking away, or you got your head down, or you just can't articulate your thoughts. That's not going to work as a dentist. That's not going to work. So again, it's everything. It's everything, not just all the things that you mentioned, but it's all of those things that you mentioned together collectively.
Yeah, and you've answered this next question because Deborah came back and said, I've heard about some students who score a certain DAT who still don't get an interview. And so what you've mentioned is all of it is important.
All of it is important. All of it is important. Exactly. All of it is important. And you're right. It's important to know the qualifications or things that certain schools will look at. And that is why you have to utilize a resource. The information has already been collected for all of you that are on the call. All the information, right? Lucas, Grace, Jessica, Luce, Isabel, Elizabeth, and Deborah. All the information has been collected for you guys. The schools provide this. You just have to look at the information to give you better guidance as to what the schools or where you need to be at as a holistic and complete candidate. So you're right, Deborah. You can get a 19 and you still didn't get an interview, even though last year's class had the range from a 19 to a 22. But again, it's just that's just one piece of the puzzle.
This has been some great information. I see it in the chat. To reiterate that we have some events in the spring. The Adiago Dental Virtual Fair, the Adiago Dental Recruitment Event, where the actual school representatives will be there. So asking the actual school some of these questions are really helpful as well. Dr. Darwin, we are coming up on an hour here. I think that went super fast. Yeah, I know. The participation from the audience has really been stellar. The questions have been amazing. I'd love to give you the platform for a few minutes. What advice, what closing thoughts do you have for everybody who's watching tonight?
Well, first of all, thank you. And keep in mind, everyone, this is a process, right? Just like going from nursery school to 5th grade to high school to college, becoming a dentist is a process. There is no cheat code. I mean, there are some pathways, and some schools have what we call like a 7-year pathway. There's some schools that even have a 6-year pathway, high school to dental school pathway. I just did an interview with one such student it's a pathway from high school right into dental school over a period of 1, 2, 3. I think it's 6 years. 6 or 7 years. It's a process. So again, there's no quick fix. Next thing is understand that it's going to take a village, meaning you're definitely going to have to connect with and network with people that are going to help you through this process, right? You have some great resources here at Adia, and for those of you that are here on this segment, congratulations, because you guys are really serious about your exploration and your journey for your career. So that's important. So I want to acknowledge you for that, because it's easy to do, but it's also easy not to do, meaning not to come on in the evening and spend the time to listen and ask questions and be engaged. So the fact that you guys are doing that is commendable, and it's part of the process of what you have to do. So networking is very key. Some of the things that I shared with Lucas and shared with Jessica are some of the things that you will have to do as part of the process, right? And I will tell you, sometimes the process will mean that in the application cycle, you may not be successful the first time you apply. And you may have to apply a second time. You may have to apply the third time. I have a mentee that just got into dental school. He's in his 2nd year now. And it took him 7 years to get into dental school. But he was so determined and wanted this for himself and dedicated and was also disciplined enough that he just took every rejection as, well, that just means not right now, but I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep going. So after 7 years, he did that. And actually, it's an interview I did with him. You guys can check it out on my YouTube page too. So I think those are some of the key things. And again, utilize the resources that you have. We mentioned the DIA has a resource, ASDA. Also check out the SNDA, the Student National Dental Association, great resource. Couple of pipeline programs or pathway programs that can help you and that are designed just to help you go from pre-dental candidate to dental student to dentist. And some of those pathway programs are, there's one called Increasing Diversity in Dentistry. It's an ID pipeline program. There's another one out of a good colleague of mine out of Phoenix. She's a pediatric dentist. It's called Diversity in Dentistry is another one. And then there's also one out of NYU. One of my former residents started this enrichment program called Bringing Smiles Dental Enrichment Program. And if you didn't get all of that, hopefully you'll get it on the replay. You can go and search those websites as well. And then the last one I want to recommend, especially for those that are in college right now, but even if you're in high school getting ready to go to college, it'll apply to you once you're your second year in college, is a summer enrichment program. It's called Summer Health Professions Enrichment Program. And I think, Emily, I think you've got the couple of those links, and maybe we'll put those, we'll share those links and these resources. But guys, utilize these resources that have been developed to help you. Everyone here needs help. I needed help today to get the video and everything up and running. Don't be afraid to ask for help. The smartest person in the room is the person that asks for help. So hopefully this coaching session has helped you tonight as well.
Thank you so much, Dr. Darwin. You are a great resource, and I want to point everybody down to the description on this page. All of Dr. Darwin's links to his YouTube channel, to his website. There's some gems in there as well. And on behalf of Adia, thank you for coming to this follow-up for the Discover Dentistry event. We hope that you'll stay connected, that you'll keep exploring careers. We have the Adia Go Dental newsletter we hope you sign up for, and look for some events this year, a couple online and one in person.
Philly, I'm coming to Philly, so hopefully I can meet you guys in person. Let's go.
We will see you there. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Dr. Darwin, for your time tonight. We appreciate all the coaching you had, and hope everybody has a great evening.